Hi guys, and welcome back to Art a la Carte. And in this episode of Color Pencils 101, I'm going to show you how to draw something that I love to draw. A lot of people ask me, what's your favorite thing to draw? I like drawing tons of different things. I have a hard time choosing a favorite thing to do, but if I'm going to doodle on something, this is what I always seem to draw, which is the eye. Whoa. I love drawing eyes. It was one of the very first big breakthrough successes in my art journey as I was learning to transition from drawing strictly cartoon to trying to draw more realistically. So I've always had a nice soft spot for learning to draw the eye, which is, once you learn kind of the techniques to it, is really kind of fun. Now, saying that, this is not a video on how to draw the eye, but in turns how to color it with color pencils. So if you want to learn how to draw an eye, I have a video on that. I might be redoing it later on. I'm not sure how well I like it, but it works for right now. So I'll put a link to that video, boom, right there, and then also down in the description box, so you can go check that out. But if you already know how to draw an eye and just wanting to learn how to color it more realistically, this is the video for you. So let's get started. I'm not going to take you through step by step on how to draw an eye. I actually have a video already done for that, so I'll put the link to that in the description box below. But once you have your eye drawn up exactly the way you want it, and you don't have to get into any of the shading or toning or anything like that, but just the lines are where you want them to be. What I do is I generally take a gummy eraser and I erase almost all the lines just so that I can barely see them. The reason is if as you begin to mix color pencils in with this, they're going to blend with your graphite and it's going to cause it to be a little muddy. So the less graphite you can have on your paper, the better. So you can actually erase quite a lot and still be able to see. Remember, you do want to draw really lightly on your paper. You don't want to score the paper with your pencil. You should be able to run your hand across it and not feel any lines. If you can feel the indents, you are definitely pushing too hard with your pencil. So erase it so that you can just barely faintly see the outline. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a color pencil that you'll need for your skin tone. And there's, a gazillion different types of skin tones out there. The pencils I'm going to be using for my skin tones is this one that's just a regular peach and then a light peach. I'm going to take my darker one of the two and I'm going to outline the skin portion, not the eyeball itself, but anywhere that there's skin, I'm going to outline this in my darker tone. And again, I'm not pushing hard, pushing nice and lightly. We're going to put a lot of work onto this paper and we want it to hold up. And if you have any kind of fold lines like here, you definitely want to draw that in. If you have any kind of shadow lines, you can kind of just indicate them slightly. This eye doesn't have a lot of shadow, so we don't have to worry about that. But make sure that's the way you want it. Now you're going to decide what color your eye is going to be. Is it going to be brown or green or blue or hazel or violet or red? I don't care whatever color eye you want. And remember that when you're choosing a color, it's just not one color. If you're choosing, blue, it's not just one shade of blue. It's a whole bunch of different shades. But you're going to choose the darkest shade that you can possibly get with the color that you're choosing. So I'm going to do a brown eye, so I'm going to choose this dark umber, and I'm going to outline the actual iris of the eye. That's the color part of the eye. And you want to do that carefully. If you don't get a really nice circular shape, you have an oval shape, it's going to throw your whole eye off. So the iris and the pupil have to be as complete circles as you possibly can make them. A lot of times you can use a template or a stencil or something to kind of get that correct shape out there. However you need to do that. But I outline that. And you'll also notice that I have very carefully outlined in my pencil my reflecting light. I want to really protect this area because if I lay any color in there, I won't be able to put any reflective light. So I want to keep that in mind as I take my black pencil, and I'm going to now begin to very carefully put in the pupil. And so I'm going to outline first the pupil. And then you'll see I did not connect where that shine is. I'm gonna actually very carefully draw around that shine so that I know not to get in there. And then I'm just gonna fill that in. I'm not gonna go super dark yet. I wanna get it filled in first before I start worrying about burnishing. Okay, and then you want to just really look at your eye, make sure that it is as circular as possible and that the pupil is really just centered in the iris. It's not centered in the middle of the eyeball itself because the eyeball looks all around. So wherever the circle of the iris is, you want to make sure that that is centered, that the pupil is centered to the iris so that it's even on all sides. Now your pupil can be adjusted in size depending on if it's a dark location or a really bright location, will cause the pupil to contract or expand. So that's just all determined on that. So once you have this portion drawn up, then you're going to take the lightest color in your eye. I'm actually going to take this orange here. It's called a yellowed orange. And I'm just going to very carefully fill in, not pushing hard because I'm going to have a lot of colors in here. I'm going to fill in my eye. And again, I'm going to draw very carefully and very lightly around my shine and fill in around there. Alright, so there is my lightest tone. Once I have my darkest color and my lightest color in there, I'm going to go back to my darkest color. And now I'm going to really begin to pull in a little bit of this color towards, always moving in towards the pupil. And I don't want it to all be the same distance. You'll notice that if you look really closely at a person's eyes, they have these really cool kind of patterns and designs. So I suggest if you haven't looked really closely at people's eyes, just go and grab a friend and say, "Let me stare into your eyes." And just check out the way that the eye coloration and the pattern is in there. It's just fantastic. If you don't have any friends, that's sad. I'll be your friend. But look, you can get, Google eyeball pictures. Just be cautious because sometimes they throw up surgery eyeball pictures and that, oh my gosh, that's just, blah. I don't know, maybe it doesn't gross you out. It grosses me out though. Eyeballs and surgery, blah. I don't think I could ever be a surgeon. And again, I'm not pushing down really hard. I am building these colors up really, really slowly. I want it kind of be a little bit of gradients, but I don't want them all to look exactly the same. So if you see it starting to kind of look a little bit similar, kind of make a little bit of a difference, just depends on how you want to draw it. But you want it to come out to that edge of the eye nice and dark. Once you have that kind of put in there, you can take a middle tone crayon and now our color pencil and begin adding in mid-tone shades. And don't worry if you cover up a lot of that orange. That orange is just going to be your highlight color, so you don't necessarily want orangey eyes. So I'm going to fill this in. This one is a burnt ochre, but you again could use any color. I just know I have a lot of people asking me, what colors did you use? But if you don't have burnt ochre, you can use whatever colors you want. And again, I'm still not burnishing things because I'm going to add still a lot more color in here. And you want that nice variance in there. So this nice yellow, I'm going to start just a little bit of now burnishing right in the center, not at the ends, but at the center a little bit with this goldeny yellow, just in a few places. And then just to kind of tone it down just a little bit in other places, I'm going to take just a kind of a warm gray and put that in there. And you might add a little bit more shadowing up towards the top of the lid, as that lid would cast down a little bit more shadowing. And you're really going to start feeling your paper is really not wearing thin, but really kind of getting flat. Even though you haven't burnished a lot, you're going to feel it doesn't have that resistance. Your colored pencil might not be sticking as easily as it did before. And that's just a good sign to let you know that your paper is just about at max capacity. So at this point, I'm going to go back to my super duper dark burnt umber, and now I'm burnishing. Now I'm just coming in here and just getting in there really, really dark. And this is where you want to be really careful, because if you accidentally bump your pencil and your pencil goes outside of your eyeball, you've just messed up your drawing. You'll have to give him a patch on his eye. They called him One-Eyed Pete, and they only had one eye to begin with, so they're No-Eyed Pete. And again, as you're burnishing, do not burnish all of your color away. You're just burnishing up those edges now that you put in nice and lightly. Now that you have that in there, you're going to go back with your black, and now you're going to burnish in, very carefully burnish in the pupil. And get that just super dark in there. You don't want any of those light white little spots to show through. So then I'm going to take my white colored pencil, and I'm just going to go in that shine, and I'm just going to burnish around the edges, and that's just going to soften my shine up just a little bit. Okay, now you might think, oh yay, we're done, but we're not. We're only about halfway done, if even that. The whites of the eyes are not actually white. If you look at them, they're grays, a little bit of pinks, maybe even a little bit of yellow coloring in that, and you're going to find that that is going to change the side to even be more realistic. So I'm going to take a kind of a skylight blue here, and I'm just going to be very careful. And I have to be careful because you want to be careful that you don't pull any of this color in here. So first, blow it a little bit just to see, make sure there's no little crumbs there, but just again, be really careful. And you're just going to start to pull in a gradient shade, and you're probably not even going to be able to see it very much. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. I'm just building up a color. I'm not burnishing anything, but I am just very carefully laying in just a shade color. I might leave just the very center, the part of the eyeball that's kind of closest to me, a little bit white, but it's going to be so gradually gradient that you're not going to be able to tell. It's just going to go just very gently up to there. Just like that. Then I'm going to move to a darker gray. Actually, let me do this one first. I'm going to move to a jade green, and kind of whatever grays you want. And again, just working that up in that corner, underneath that eyelid. And this is just going to take playing around and practicing to see just how you like your eyes to look. You don't want to totally outline your eye. You don't want to make it look like it's outlined. So make sure when you put a line there that you're making that gradient out into the eyeball. So it's not a line, but a tone. And then I even have a little bit of a henna color here. It's a little bit of a red. And I'm going to go in the very corners here. I'm just going very lightly. I'm barely touching the paper. And I'm just going to add a little bit of pink to this eye. And then I'll take my white and I'm going to blend that in. So now what I want to do is I want to begin to add in the skin tones. I want to do that before I put in eyelashes, and you'll see why. Because you want all this shadowing in here and everything done before you put those eyelashes in there, because you won't be able to go back in underneath them and do that. So you want to do that first. I'm going to lay down a base tone. Okay, so once you have your skin tones placed in there, now you're going to begin to just build up your skin tone colors. And again, in this lesson, I'm not teaching you how to add shadow to skin tone. I'll do that in another lesson. I put in my little tones and all that, got my shadows in there and everything, and I will again also probably have a video tutorial on how to do eyebrows. If you want that, let me know in the comment section if you would like to have a tutorial just on eyebrows alone. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to my dark color pencil, my dark brown one, and I'm going to just begin to outline the top lid just a little bit. I'm not making it a really harsh line, kind of a little faded line. If you were putting makeup on your character's eye, this is the time that you'd want to put their makeup on. Don't do your lashes until last. So you put your eyeliner and your eyeshadow and all that on there first. I know it's super tempting to put eyelashes on first because it's like the fun part, but it's kind of like frosting the cake. You have to bake the cake and let it cool first before you frost it. Just a little bit, not a lot, on this lower lash line. Now you'll notice that there's two lines. There's the line that touches the actual eyeball, and then there's this ridge line. This line right here is called our water line. And actually at this point you can take a pink and kind of add a little bit of flesh tone in there. But if you look at a person's eyes, they have that nice little ridge that runs right along the inside of their eye. You don't see it so much with the upper lid because of the lashes cover that up, but you see it a lot on the bottom lid. So you don't want to put your lashes coming right out from between the eyeball itself and the lid. You have the eyeball, the water line, and then you have the lash line. So I'm going to put a little bit of color right there. And again, not a harsh line. If you make these harsh lines, it'll automatically take all that work you've done to make this more look like a realistic picture and turn it into a cartoon. So don't outline things harshly. You're just making an actual color line where you're going to put your lashes. And then what you can do is you can either put them in with this dark brown or you can use a black. And I usually start right about the center, and from the center point here I'm just taking my pencil and flicking up and out. I would highly recommend, if you've never drawn eyelashes or done this, to draw a bunch of eyes. Don't put any color or shading, and then just practice drawing lashes. This is the part that can totally ruin the work that you've done, and you get to chalk it up for experience. So I wouldn't recommend that you practice this right on the piece that you've already spent, you know, half an hour to an hour drawing. Go ahead and practice that out separately. Just draw you know, a really easy eye, and then just practice doing really cool eyelashes. But you'll see that from this point here, they're flicking up and kind of over this way. And you can put as many eyelashes in there as you absolutely want. Alright, and then as it comes up towards the middle, it's curving straight up as it comes up towards whatever's closest looking to you, because remember, we're making this wrap around. It's not coming straight across, it's coming up and closer to you. So to get that effect, you're going to have it come up just a little bit, and then as it moves along down this way, and they get a little bit more sparse as they come over to the side. But you'll see how they're switching directions. Instead of flicking this way, I'm flicking this way now a little bit. Not as long, a little bit thinner. And it helps to have a really sharp pencil. This one's almost too dull. There you go, a little bit sharper. When you get down to the corner of the eye, just very, very light on the eyelashes. Then down here, the bottom lashes are a lot smaller and more sparse, but still that same flicking motion out this way, just down now, and coming out from that water line, not at the edge of the eyeball. And then as it gets closer to this part here, it's wrapping around, so it's going to come kind of a little bit more straight down. And then as it works in towards the inner eye, just a little bit more sparse. And you don't want to have all your eyelashes look the same. Don't have just like rink, rink, rink. You know, their hair, they do their own thing. Some clump together, some, you know, go off on their own. And then if you want to, you can go back in with just a black and just add a couple really nice black lines in there just for a little added oomph. A little bit more of a fullness there. Okay, now this is up to you. You can add a reflectant line on the eye with like a kind of a dark gray, and you're just going to very carefully kind of just show a reflectant. And you can even put it into the shine there. You just pull that down. You don't want it to be really harsh. Start small and move up, where you're just showing a little bit of reflection of those lashes, and a little goes a long way. You don't want to have to put as many lashes in there, just a little bit. And then you go back in with your white and just kind of very carefully buff those out just a little bit if they made them just a little bit too dark. You can buff them up. And there we go, a colored pencil colored eye. Now the second part of this is just a really quick speed draw. I kind of wanted to go back over it really quickly just to quickly emphasize the different steps again. And again, you want to start off with just a basic sketch, erase those lines out, then lay in your color with the tones of your skin. Then outline the iris with the shade of color that you're going to use, the darkest shade. Then color in your pupil, making sure to outline where your highlights are going to be, so you'll save that white area for later. And then begin to build up your color, building, building, building. Take your time with this, don't rush it. Really get the intricate details that you want in that iris, because they're fantastic. After you finish that, go ahead and put in the shading around the eye if you haven't already done that, and then begin to block in where your lashes are going to be, and then finally put in your lashes after everything is shaded and perfect the way you want it. Make sure the lashes are the last thing that you put in that area. You might have more of your picture left to do, but make sure that wherever the lashes are going to be, that section of the face is completely done before you put those lashes in there, because you will mess them up if you have to go back and add some shading or anything like that over top of them. Well, there we go. Hopefully that helped you out and encouraged you, and you're excited to draw your own eyes. And if you do, of course, I'd love to see them, so go ahead and post those to my Facebook page or Instagram. But also, I have a request for you guys. I need some eye reference photos. I'd love to be able to have some more in my reserve stocks of photographs. So if you have a cool looking eye, go ahead and take one of those really close snapshots of the eyeball itself. You can send it to me on Instagram, post it to the wall on my Facebook so that other people can enjoy them, and then I will collectively collect all of those eyes and make an album in my Facebook page so that you guys can have some reference photos for eyes yourself. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Well, thank you guys so much. I look forward to next week's. We're gonna get it, I think, I don't know what. I'm still determining what I want to do next week. I have so many things I want to teach you. It's hard to choose just one a week. Oh, also, announcement. This is the first video in February, and you're going to notice that something is going to be different in February. So I would encourage you guys to check on my channel on Fridays. I don't usually post videos on Fridays, but this month of February, I'm going to do February Friday vlogs, and just do some things that I don't normally do. Usually I always am doing drawing related things. Well, these are just going to be fun things. And the first one I'm going to have is a question and answer. I've been asking questions on my Facebook page and Instagram, and this is your chance to go ahead and leave me any questions that you might have that you would like me to answer in a question and answer video. Also, a lot of you guys have been asking when is the Draw My Life video, and that one is coming up once we reach 75,000 subscribers, but I will probably be having a sneak peek at it sometime this month, because I know we're getting close. We're less than 10,000 subscribers away, which at one time in my life seemed a lot, like a year's worth of waiting. But now you guys can do that in like 2 months or even a month. So I'm just hanging on. I'm working on that, getting the script written for that. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. So make sure to check out the February Friday vlogs every Friday for this month. And yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me. And until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.